There's a line that opens this film and closes it. Kill the light. The first time, it's spoken in a dream by a father who looks exhausted beyond description. The second time, it's not a dream anymore, and between those two moments, a man loses himself so completely that you start to wonder if he was ever really there to begin with. The Things You Kill is not the movie you think it is. It starts like a slow-burn family drama. A Turkish literature professor named Ali, his dying mother, his abusive father, a marriage strained by infertility. You've seen this setup before. You think you know where this is going, you don't. Because about halfway through, the film does something most movies are too afraid to do. It fractures, it splits, and suddenly you're not watching a thriller anymore. You're watching a man's identity come apart in real time, and you're not sure if what you're seeing is real, remembered, or imagined. And that uncertainty, that's the entire point. If you're into films that mess with your head and stay with you long after the credits roll, subscribe. We're diving into more movies like this, the ones that don't let you go. This is a film about what happens when you inherit violence, when you spend your whole life trying not to become your father, only to realise the shape of his anger is already living inside you, waiting. It's about the stories men are born into, the ones they can't escape, and the moment they stop trying. Let's talk about why this film sits in your chest long after it ends. The first thing you need to know about Ali is that he's failing at everything a man is supposed to be. He can't have children, his sperm count is too low. He teaches a course on translated Western literature that his university is about to cancel. His garden in the desert is dying. His mother is dying. His father looks at him with open contempt and asks God why he was given such a son. Ali is a man defined by lack, by sterility, by not enough, and the film makes you feel that emptiness in every frame. The plumbing is broken everywhere. Nothing flows, nothing grows, everything is clogged, stagnant, suffocating, and then his mother dies. The official story is she fell, but the autopsy says blunt force trauma to the back of her head. She was found face down. The math doesn't work, and Ali, who has spent his life being passive, being gentle, being the opposite of his father, suddenly has a suspicion he can't let go of. Did his father kill her? This is where most films would become a detective story. Ali would investigate, he'd find evidence, there'd be a confrontation, justice or tragedy, roll credits, but The Things You Kill is not interested in answers. It's interested in what suspicion does to you, what rage does when you've spent 30 years burying it. What happens when the violence you've been running from finally catches up? And then the gardener arrives. His name is Reza. He shows up at Ali's desert house with a promise to revive the dead garden. He's charismatic, a little dangerous. He carries an English paperback and a notebook full of scribbles. And if you look closely, he and Ali share a resemblance just enough that if you squint, you might confuse one for the other. At first, Reza feels like a stranger, but the longer he's on screen, the more you start to realise he's not. He's something else. A shadow. A double. A version of Ali that doesn't hesitate, that doesn't apologise, that acts. And then, after an act of sudden, brutal violence, the film does something genuinely disorienting. Reza takes Ali's place. Not metaphorically, literally. He goes to Ali's home, wears his clothes, sleeps in his bed, speaks to his wife, and Ali, the real Ali, is chained like a dog in the desert, watching his life continue without him, except it's not his life anymore. Because Reza is cruel, misogynistic, violent. He's everything Ali has tried not to be. And the question the film asks, quietly, devastatingly, is this: is Reza a separate person, or is he the part of Ali that's been locked away his entire life, finally set free? There's a scene early in the film where Ali teaches his class about the word translation. In Latin, it means to transfer, meaning in Akkadian, it means to stone, to destroy. The film is obsessed with this idea. That translation is not neutral. That when you try to carry something from one language to another, from one generation to another, something gets lost. Or worse, something gets twisted. Ali has been translating his father's violence his entire life, trying to soften it, reframe it, turn abuse into distance, rage into silence. But translation, as the film suggests, might actually be destruction. And maybe what Ali has been doing all along is not escaping his father's violence, but preparing to repeat it. Because that's the real horror of this film, not the body swapping, not the surreal imagery, not the ambiguity. The horror is that Ali, who has spent his whole life being good, being careful, being the opposite of his father, was always going to become him, because that's what sons do. They inherit, they translate, they destroy. This is where the film starts to feel less like a thriller and more like a nightmare, the kind where you're aware, you're dreaming, but you can't wake up, the kind where the rules keep changing and you're trying to hold on to something solid, but everything is slipping. Is Reza real? Is he a manifestation of Ali's repressed violence? Is this entire second half of the film happening in Ali's mind as he processes his grief, his rage, his guilt? The film refuses to tell you, and that refusal is not a gimmick, it's the thesis, because the point is not whether Reza is real. The point is that it doesn't matter. The violence is real, the rage is real, the generational cycle is real, whether it's a separate man or a split self or a hallucination, the damage is the same. The translation is complete. Ali has become the thing he feared most. There's something uniquely suffocating about watching a film where the protagonist loses not just his life, but his identity, where someone else can step into your skin and everyone believes them, where you become a ghost in your own story. It taps into a primal fear we don't talk about enough. The fear that we're not essential, that the roles we play, husband, son, teacher, could be performed by anyone, that we're replaceable, forgettable, already gone. Ali's crisis is not just about his father, it's about everything. His masculinity is measured by his ability to produce a child, and he can't do it. His career is being erased, his garden won't grow, his mother, the one person who saw him as more than a disappointment, is dead, and now even his identity is taken from him. What's left to kill when part of you already feels dead? And the film was made by an Iranian director, Alireza Khatami, but set in Turkey to evade censorship, and you can feel that displacement in every frame. Ali himself is displaced. He studied in the US for 14 years. He doesn't quite fit in his family, doesn't quite fit in his country. He's always translating himself, always code switching, always aware he's performing a version of himself that no one fully believes. And maybe that's why Reza can replace him so easily, because Ali was never fully there to begin with. The film ends where it began, with that line: "Kill the light." But this time, it's spoken by someone different, or maybe it's the same person. By the end, you're not sure anymore, and that's the point. The light is gone. The dream is over. What's left is the violence, passed down, translated, repeated. The Things You Kill is not a film that wants to comfort you. It's not a film that believes in redemption or escape or breaking the cycle. It's a film that looks directly at the violence men inherit and the violence they become, and it doesn't blink. It's a film about fathers and sons and the stories we're born into, about how you can spend your whole life trying to be different, trying to be good, and still find yourself holding the same knife, standing in the same room, repeating the same sins. And maybe the scariest part is this: you won't know when it happens. One day you're the victim, the next you're the wound, and the line between the two is so thin you don't even feel yourself cross it. That's what lingers, not the plot, not the twist, the feeling, the slow creeping realization that we're all translating something, and sometimes translation is just another word for destruction. Kill the light. If this one got under your skin, let me know in the comments. What did you think Reza was? Real? Imagined? Does it matter? And if you want more deep dives into films that refuse to let you sleep easy, hit that subscribe button. We're just getting started.